Hi, I'm Nikki Fair, class of 2021, and I work for the Conrad Prebys Foundation as the Director of Operations. And I chose UCLA Anderson for my MBA for a few reasons. And when researching programs, it became pretty clear pretty quickly that Anderson was the right fit for me. And that's because every interaction that I had with student representatives, faculty, and admissions was phenomenal and responsive and helpful. I already knew the reputation of Anderson to have high caliber students and professors, that they had phenomenal speaker series and conferences, all these things that I knew that I was going to want to tap into. But for me, there was a little bit of a concern because I'm located in San Diego and I knew that I wanted that campus experience. So the solution was that Anderson offered the all day Saturday FEMBA program. And I would be able to tap into all those UCLA resources that I wanted to, get a phenomenal education. I'd be able to keep my job and immediately apply all the learnings into my work. Where I had a good growth trajectory already, and still feel connected and build a network with my fellow classmates. And so FEMBA and the Saturday and UCLA all just seemed to align to be the perfect solution for what I was looking for in a program. So, why did I choose GAP for my field study? And actually, interestingly enough, I was on track for BCO, or the business creation option, but in a last minute shuffle, I just felt that my desired learning experience would be better suited for the GAP program. And so I was fortunate enough to get paired up with an amazing team that I'd actually never worked with before. And we worked with a Finnish company on Internet of Things sensor technology in the food vertical. And I work in real estate and nonprofit. So it was an industry I had no experience in whatsoever. And I actually think this was a beneficial component of GAP. And that is that I discovered that I could really push past my self consciousness about not having any experience or industry know how in this particular. For this particular enterprise, and that I could still apply the skills and tools that I do have to drive real value for the company. And I mean, looking specifically at what you're experiencing in the GAP program, you're doing market research, primary and secondary, you're doing competitive analysis, financial feasibility, really taking all those things that you learned in individual courses and putting it all together. But also, I was the presenter for our team. And so specifically, I learned how to give a presentation over and over and how to continually simplify information to make it really quickly and easily digestible. So that was a great skill set that you sort of learn as well. But then in addition to that, there's kind of the little things that you don't really think about, things that you're getting exposure to that you don't know without really getting that exposure. And those are, things like different databases and resources for information that you can tap into, project management styles and tools and resources. And then also just the collaboration factor when you've got a team of people who are all trying to problem solve and we're all getting partial information, some same information, you're putting it all together, and then you're evaluating it and then coming out with different conclusions based off of that same information. So learning how to work in that dynamic was something that was really valuable through this program. Would say it was a lot of work to be with a team for 6 months on this consulting project. But ultimately, when your company tells you that the team's findings are actually driving and informing their intended strategy, there's just this huge sense of accomplishment beyond a grade that you would ever get from, say, like a standard academic thesis. And I think that's a real pro for the GAP field study program. And, that sense of accomplishment is something that I can really carry with me. And that self sense of capability to work in industries that maybe I'm not as familiar with, which is a value you just really can't even quantify. So having just completed GAP, I'm really excited to take forward many learnings into my career, including, as I kind of mentioned, just that sense of confidence that I developed through this project. And it's a real validation that I was able to take what I'm learning in the classroom and really apply it in a real world setting. But I also learned to work really productively with a very high caliber team. I think sometimes when you put teams together of full, extremely capable persons, there can be clashes and differences of opinions, but our team really really worked collaboratively. We built one another up, and we developed some of those less quantifiable skills, the shared responsibility, shared accolade, and sort of like this interpersonal attentiveness as well that I'm really grateful to be able to carry over into working with a small team dynamic at my company currently. Um, Also, we underwent GAP during COVID, so the fun travel component was actually kind of mixed. And I think it's really easy to get caught up in the shortcomings or the disappointments of a project, but instead, our group really focused on the benefits of this changed environment, such as more flexibility on being able to conduct those primary interviews. And so these skills, the confidence, the collaboration, the positivity, I think are all just really well served for my professional life. Like I said, working with a small team, but will continue to serve me as I feel more assured in myself and can really project that assurance. I'm honored to be selected by faculty as a voice of FEMBA for GAP. I hope my story encourages you to, one, be adaptable, and two, to see value in all your interactions and learnings, academic or otherwise. You don't have to know exactly what you want to do or what you're going to get out of a situation for it to be a great learning opportunity.